All right, there we go. Welcome back to day 2 now of our pillars of a profitable yoga business. If you're here live, thank you. It's always lovely to have you live. It just feels the energy for me, and then I don't feel like I'm just talking to a computer screen on my own, but I know it's not possible. And if you are doing the replay, well done, because we all know what it's like building up an email full of replays and not watching them. I've got a stash of 3 courses in my email I need to be doing the replays on. So well done. So just making sure today that you managed to get your workbook. I will just drop you a link to the workbook in the chat, just in case you didn't have it. Where did I put it? Copy link. Okay. There's a link in the Zoom chat to the workbook. If you're on Facebook, I've put it at the top. There's a link at the top there. So remember, when you open that workbook, you can print it out, of course, feel free. You can just use it as a reference to write in a journal, or it is, for those tech-minded, editable on screen, but you'd need to download it, come out of your internet, and then open the PDF from your downloads folder for it to be editable rather than using it in a Google or other internet provider screen. I will put our screen share on. We'll dip in and out a bit like we did yesterday. Then we'll dive on in. So many buttons to press. Okay, here we go. You should be able to see this on your screen. As I said already, welcome back to day 2 of Pillars of a Profitable Yoga Business. And as you know now, there are bonuses for being here live. Today's bonus is a 90-minute training with me and a guest teacher on yoga photography. It's a photography educator and me teaching you how to get the best imagery to match what you're trying to market. So I will give you the link to that at the end, and that is the bonus for being live. If you're not live, do not worry. We still have all of the prizes to win. Prizes are won by completing your homework. The homework is the workbook. Filling in the questions on the workbook, taking a snippet of it, and posting them in the Facebook group. So just a quick refresher on those housekeeping recommendations from yesterday to get the most out of this. Being present with focus and taking aligned action is what's actually going to help you integrate what you learn and see results from it. So if you're able to, popping the phone away, of course, if you're using it for notes, that's fine, but putting your phone away, close any other computer tabs, emails, or any distractions. If you're able to have your cameras on, that's great, but I know not everybody is able to, but I know I pay attention better and don't multitask when my camera is on. And let's get that chat open. So opening the chat, whether you're on Facebook, in Zoom, and just let me know how you're feeling after yesterday. How do I open the chat? I'll find that in a bit. But open the chat, let me know what you took away from yesterday, how you're feeling today. I know some of the things that we covered yesterday. There's the chat. Might have been a different way of thinking. There's a few things about coming out of that mindset of being saturated that can be quite hard to hear, and that's okay, don't worry. Motivated, calmer, inspired, pensive, I understand that. Yeah, thoughtful, positivity. Great. Lovely to connect with like-minded people. Grab your journal and your workbook, and remember to get the maximum value from today, which is all given free from my heart, is you just need to be 100% engaged. Recapping on the Serve and Thrive model, because honestly, I don't think you can hear this enough times. You can hear it once and think, oh, that's a nice way of thinking about things. But for it to really filter into how we act and respond, we have to keep this approach at front and center of mind. So your role as a yoga teacher, you are first and foremost a community builder. We're not looking for getting bums on yoga mats. We're not looking for quick wins. We are looking for building community because, my loves, marketing is tiring. I don't want you having to market your classes again and again and again and again. I do not market my yoga classes. Okay? I don't even market my teacher training anymore, actually, because they just fill. I market things that are new in my business, new courses, new workshops, new retreats. But I don't have to market my classes. I haven't done a flyer drop, a poster, social media, anything on my classes for years because I focused on building a community. So my classes are a community and the students return year after year after year after year after year. They bring their kids, then their kids are adults, then their adult kids have babies, and then they just keep coming back. So if you can, Victoria, camera off is at the hairdresser. Love that multitasking. If you focus on building community, you will in the end save yourself the work of having to be constantly on the marketing treadmill. That is only different if you work in the pre and postnatal or pregnancy, or same thing, sorry, mum and baby. If you work in that niche, you will never get off the marketing wheel because obviously people aren't pregnant for long and people don't need postnatal for young and mums and babies don't stay in that class for long. So if you do work in that niche, then we look at automating, streamlining, and structuring the marketing machine. So it's just on a rinse and repeat cycle. But yes, focus on building community. And not only will it be more enjoyable, but it will save you work in the long term. Ursula's puts this so true. I stopped marketing classes after my first year, only advertised new classes and events. Yes. And when you think of the work of advertising a new class, all the flyer drops, all the social media posts, all of the posters, you can really focus on that and give your bottom a friendly little kick when you know it's for the short run. When you think you have to flyer drop year after year after year after year after year, that's exhausting. If you think I'm going to do this properly, I'm going to nurture the people I've got, I'm going to build my community, you can motivate yourself with that. So to remember the Serve and Thrive model, we're going to go into this a tad deeper. I've added an extra slide, but with real conversations with real people, creating real relationships and delivering real results. Now, those of you that have worked with me, you're like, yes, 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 yes. So I maybe went over this a bit quick yesterday, because if you haven't worked from me, it could do with just a moment to dial in on that. So I've added an extra slide, which means it's probably full of typos. But just to recap, why do we want to have real conversations? Social media has become very much, I don't like it, so I just put up a post. We want to be seeing posts and social medias as conversation starters, having conversations with people in the comments, in direct messages. This also translates to real conversations at the school gate, for instance, with parents dropping off their kids. If you go to a running club, real conversations at the running club. If you are dropping flyers and someone walks into their driveway whilst you're popping a flyer through their door, don't panic, hide your head in shame and run away. It's an opportunity to have a real conversation. Oh, hi, I'm so sorry. You just caught me about to put a flyer through your door. I'd love to talk to you. My name's Laura. I run yoga classes locally. Have you ever been to yoga? You see anything as an opportunity to have a real conversation. Why? Because real conversations lead to real relationships. Real relationships develop this trust, safety, understanding, connection with you. And when people have a connection with you, they're more likely to be in your community. But much more than that, when you have a real relationship with someone, they are going to open up to you about what they're going through. And we all know, those of you that have been teaching yoga a long time, just type me a hell yes in the comments if you agree. Our yoga students tell us everything. Everything. thing. This is my first week back from 4 weeks off, and it has been heavy because my community have had 4 weeks worth of life happening. We've had deaths, we've had relationships break up, we've had cats die, all sorts, and they just pour this out to us. Not that they're even loving the hell yeses, not that they even want us to do anything. We're not there to fix, but we are a compassionate ear for someone to offload on. Now, that's not our job. If someone needs more help, we can recommend and refer them to experts. But there's just this relationship, this offloading on a yoga teacher. But that helps you get a real understanding of what your community are going through and to have compassion. So you'll start to notice if your community are tired, if your community is stressed, if your community are anxious, if your community is experiencing insomnia, if your community is feeling more disheveled than normal, discombobulated than normal, or if they're feeling like, oh, I've got to get moving, I haven't done much over Christmas, I've lost a sense of connection with myself, you'll start to understand what your people are going through and have compassion for that. Then this gives you a real understanding of people and your community. Again, pop me a yes in the comments if your yoga students ever ask you if you're psychic, because you teach them yoga classes and they're like, oh my God, that's just what I needed. I said to someone the other day, I know I have a camera in your house. And she looked at me like she actually believed that. But that level of, are you psychic? Is because we have an understanding of what they're going through. Then we can tailor our yoga to the needs of our community. Okay? And that's when they're like, are you psychic? This is just what I needed. And then when the yoga is tailored, they're starting to get real results from going to class with you. They're feeling less anxious, they're sleeping better, they're feeling less upper back and neck pain, whatever it is. Yes, Hannah, how does this work? I have my opinions. We'll maybe dive into them later on how the psychic thing works. But then our yoga classes are delivering real results. And when your yoga classes are delivering real results and actually making a difference in someone's life, when they're having a real impact, then you have loyal students. Loyal, abundant communities, because not only will they be loyal to you, but if you have had a real impact in their life, they are going to genuinely recommend you because you've had a real impact. So not only will your community grow, but it will be really loyal. I've had a lovely student, she's been with me for years and she's just moved house and she's moved about 40 minutes away and she's still coming to the class. And I said, I've got one half the distance closer to you. Move to that venue. She's like, oh, no, it's the community here. It's the people. It's the relationship. They all breathe loudly and I breathe loudly. Can't go to another yoga class. But it is this loyal and abundant communities because you've had a real impact on their lives. Loyal and abundant communities equal sustainable, reliable income and profit. So when I said yesterday that I wanted you to focus on impact over income, that was not me telling you that you can't have income. That was me telling you if you focus on income, how much money did this class make today? How am I covering my hall hire? If you focus on income, it's a negative downward spiral. Okay? If you focus on impact, it is fulfilling you because you're having a real relationship with people and it leads to sustainable, reliable income and profit. Okay. Looking after clients is essential. Yeah, it's more tricky for me now when I have more clients. My clients are impressed that I can remember their names. I take extra care to learn everyone's name. Ursula, you are speaking my language. It is a golden rule for me that you know your students' names. And then I know some think, oh, I'm not very good at names, remembering names. You need to put a technique in place so that you can remember names. One of the techniques I use is my students book online, but I still take a register because not everyone that books turns up. So I speak my students into Shavasana. Once everybody is settled and relaxed in Shavasana, I like to give them a few moments of silence. And in that time, I have a diary, paper diary, that is 1 page per day. And I will have divided that page up by the number of classes I have that day. So if it's just 1 class, I don't divide the page. If it's 3, I divide the page into 3 columns, write the time and date at the top, and then I hand write the register. And I go around the room, and while they're in Shavasana, I write the register down. That process of pen to paper helps me remember your name. And if there's a blank, because there's someone on the mat, I don't know their name, I have to pluck up the courage to go to them at the end of the class and say, thank you so much for coming to class today. It was really lovely to have you. I've just remembered that I can't remember your name. I'm so sorry. Could you just remind me your name? Okay. That's how I remember names. Okay. So after we've done that recap, going on from what we did yesterday, what are you now ready to bring into the light? We explored what the pillar of finding the gap. Now we think, okay, found the gap. What light am I shining into that gap? So pillar 1 was find the gap. Pillar 2, fill the gap. Or actually, do you know what? I don't like fill the gap. Shine the light in the gap. Cross that out. You found the gap. Now I'm going to shine the light in it. So when we create for the gap, when you understand the gap, you understand yourself. Remember what we said yesterday about differentiation. Then you bring the two together, which enables you to serve from your heart and then thrive. So we have to create offerings. And an offering can be your yoga class, can be a course, can be a workshop, be a book, can be anything. But I want you to really come into that space of creativity. You do not have to look at what has already been done. We spoke about this yesterday. You're not designed to fit the mold. Instead, look into your heart, dream, and create. Anything is possible. Those of you who've been teaching a long time, like 10 plus years, when we were teaching, there wasn't so many workshops. There wasn't day retreats. There wasn't fun courses. There was just your yoga classes. You could go to a yoga class in the gym, or if you were lucky, a yoga class in the village hall, and that was it. So it meant anything that we wanted to do, we didn't have a role model for. We had to create. And now there is such a wonderful abundance of yoga, day retreats, all sorts of collaborations, people bringing interesting different things together, that easily teachers start to have an idea of that's how you do it. I must put on a day retreat. And then we get posts in the Yoga Teacher Collaborative that say things like, what would you include on a day retreat? What are you passionate about? What do you want to do? Rather than trying to copy a template, that never feels good. You can be inspired by people, but you also can create. And this is one of the most magical things about being a yoga teacher, is that you can create. You can blend your passions with your community's needs. Design offerings from your heart and creative soul, and believe that anything is possible. You are a visionary. You are a visionary. And I take that quite seriously. And, you know, the more unusual my offerings get, the quicker they sell. So last year I ran a year-long course. It actually started at the end of 2023. And it was my most unusual blend of things. It was called Realm of the Emotions. It's coming back this year. It was tantric yoga, alchemizing emotions through astrology, meditation. So it was tantric yoga, astrology, and meditation, because I'm also an astrologer. And it was all around the full moon. Okay, so it was the moon, astrology, tantric yoga, meditation, Alchemizing Emotions. And it was a year long. And I can't remember the price. I think it was just under £400. So it was expensive and it was a year long and really niche, really quirky, just the things that were passionate about me. I thought there'd be about 15 people that shared my same wacky love for that combination. It was my most sold out course of ever. We had 72 people enroll on that course. And I don't like talking numbers. I find it a bit crass, but you can do the maths on that. It was just under £400 and 72 people signed to that. No, Caroline, it was online, actually, because I couldn't fit 72 people in a room. It was once a month for 12 months. And it was the quirkiest thing. And did I ever imagine 72 people would sign up for it? No, I didn't do it for income. I did it for impact because it was about my passion, my community's needs, and there it was. It is running again this year. It starts in March. So you are a visionary, you are a guide, someone has to go first. If you have an idea and it's not been done, that doesn't make it a bad idea. People get this, oh, I've never seen that done, therefore it must be pants. You're a visionary. Create the path ahead. Okay. So let's get creative. If anything is possible, what kind of yoga experiences would you like to provide? What kind of yoga experiences would you like to provide? And I use the word experience because even your weekly classes, start to think of them as an experience. And an experience begins the minute you book something. How do you feel when you book something? You're excited. How are you then treated by the company? How do you feel when you walk through the door? What's the experience as you walk through the door into a hall? Do you like, really quiet, peaceful? Do you want it to be full of hubba bubble and chatter? Do you want to be greeted with a cup of tea? Do you want there to be a nice aroma? What is the experience from the moment you open the front door? And I'm a village hall yoga teacher, we do the best we can in dusty, cold, unreliable village halls. But so my experience is more about the welcome. I can't control the space, so it's about the welcome. Would you like it to be online or in person? I do urge caution with online. If you are going to start a fairly generic 7 p.m. yin yoga class online, 7 p.m. hatha yoga class online, 7 p.m. vinyasa class online, and you don't have a community, it is very hard to market that. I know it appeals because you don't have to hire a hall, you don't have to leave the house, there's less expenses, but it is very, very hard to start from scratch with a generic online class. I would tell you honestly not to do that. I would say get out in the community. The quickest way to build a class is an in-person beginner's course in community. Okay? If you already have an existing community that would prefer to practice with you online because they don't need to leave the house, then that can work. Or if you don't have a community and you want to cultivate something online, it can't just be a standard class. I would recommend a course that is targeted to a specific desire and offers a specific result. So for instance, my Realm of Emotions course, it was a 90-minute yoga class once a month. Okay? There was a couple of other bits with it, but it wasn't, and I could have just said that's a 90-minute moon and astrology yoga class once a month. Okay? But I packaged it together as a course because I thought we could get better understanding, better results over a course. And you can't go and get that for free on YouTube. You cannot go and get a progressive yoga and astrology course free on YouTube. So, it might be a bespoke yoga for runners course. Free yoga on YouTube doesn't do courses that are progressive learning week by week with a sense of community. So if you want to go online, think course, progressive weekly learning in community. And you've got to be really clear on the needs or the desire of the people you're talking to with that. If you're new, just get out in person. You need to practice and learn your craft by teaching real people in real life. Feel quite strongly on that. Okay. Whether you want to offer classes or courses, I just sort of touched on that. Again, if you're starting a new class, I recommend a course. And that means that you focus on marketing the course for 6 weeks. Then once the course starts, you can press pause on the marketing, take your marketing hat off, and focus on teaching really good yoga. Okay. Then that could go on to be a rolling class afterwards. But if you are wanting to teach something that is a journey, that is progressive, that there is an outcome, that you crave loyal students, again, you can just continually do courses. How long would you like your sessions to last and over what time scale? So yeah, most yoga classes are 60 minutes. They don't have to be. They could be 70 minutes, giving you longer for Shavasana. They could be 90 minutes. I used to go to a weekly class that was always 2 hours. And the yoga teacher was like, this is what I do. It's 2 hours. There's a philosophy chat, there's meditation. That's what it is. And I loved it for the depth. Okay? And then over what time scale? This really relates to courses. So if you are hoping that your course will deliver a result, over what time scale does that course need to be taken to actually deliver the result? So say you want to run a course for sleep, yoga for sleep, and you run it over 4 weeks, you're not really going to change someone's relationship to sleep in 4 weeks. You might be better to do it over 12 weeks, but every other week. So they have a longer time to integrate the learnings, to come to the class and then have homework that they do on their own to improve their sleep hygiene at home. So you have so much freedom. One of my favorite courses I ran was a beginner's yoga course online, and it was a 12-week beginner's deep dive. It was 12 weeks. And you know what? It was 200 and something pounds, 220 pounds, I think. And it included a book on, a book on the Yoga Sutras, on the True Yoga by Jenny Lee. And every week of the course, we went through a different yama and niyama right from the beginning. And it was for beginners that didn't want to dip their toe in, but wanted to fully dive in. And that course was really popular. Okay? What other passions would you like to infuse into your yoga offerings? I infuse astrology, philosophy, spirituality, music, storytelling. I'm a multidimensional human, but what do you love that you would like to infuse in? Okay. So that's some homework to keep doing. Okay. Next up, you've had this idea, you've created this thing, you've got excited about it. And then comes the expression, build it and they will come. I don't know who said that. I don't know who said that, but I wish we could have a chat because it is wrong. Build it and they will come is wrong. Nope, sorry, wrong, not going to happen. Okay? People will only come if they need, want, or desire what you are offering. Need, want, or desire. Okay. So how do you tap into need, want, or desire? Let's think of that, I need a new toothbrush. My electric toothbrush has stopped charging. I will go on the internet this afternoon and buy my new toothbrush. I need it. Yoga isn't necessarily a need. It's more a want or desire. So what might somebody want that you're offering as a solution to? Do they want community? Do they want to feel a better connection with their body? Do they want to feel free of back pain? Do they want to feel less stressed? And then also, what do they desire? Want and desire are quite similar, but want is often surface level and desire is often deeper than that. Victoria, I love that. Yoga is a need for me. I do agree. But at the beginning, it wasn't a need. It's now a need. So want is surface level. I want to feel more. I'm going to go to yoga because it's exercise and I want to feel more toned and fit in my body. We've all had those emails, haven't we? Will your yoga classes help me get more toned and fit? What's the desire under I want to get more toned and fit? The desire might be something like, I want to feel more comfortable in my own skin. I want to have a better relationship with my body. I want to feel more confident in my body. It's deeper. Does that make sense? So one is like the surface level. Desire is often the depth beneath that, the truth beneath that. Okay. And if we can market our things that in a way that they're obvious that they meet the want, but they also speak to someone's desire, that's when people feel really seen, really seen. So then you've got to start having an appreciation for symptom, problem, solution, especially if you're attracting more beginners to your yoga. They might not know that yoga is what they're looking for. They might be suffering with stress, suffering with anxiety, suffering with back pain, and not know that yoga is the solution. Or they might have an opinion as to what yoga is and why it's not for them. So our job is to not just market the yoga or the offering, but to help people understand what the symptoms and problems are that they're experiencing and why and how yoga is the solution. So say, for instance, the symptom is I have neck and shoulder pain. Okay? We know that's a classic for going to yoga. I have neck and shoulder pain. The problem, I have a stressful office job. The solution is yoga. That is obvious to you and me, but it's not always obvious to that person who hasn't yet come to yoga. So in our marketing, in our website, in our flyers, in our everything, we talk to someone about the symptoms and problems. Are you suffering with neck and shoulder pain? Would you like to feel more part of a community? Whatever it is that you're offering, then you guide them through symptom, problem, why the yoga is solution. And again, this has to have real conversations with real people. So then you start to put these pieces together with more of understanding the gap. So take this all with a pinch of salt. It's, situation dependent, but what is the demographic of the gap? If it is obvious, who are you teaching, gender, age, general mobility, or fitness level? Honestly, my community cannot be summed up in that. I teach all genders, all ages, all mobilities, all fitness level. I work more on the psychographic, but I do also teach chair yoga class, which age, mobility, fitness level is more apparent in. But if there is an obvious demographic of your group, think through that, but don't force it if there isn't one. Again, you might think about the psychographic of the group, and this is definitely more related to my community. So the psychographic is more what's going on in the mind and the heart and less related to the body. So what do they want and need and desire? My community desire community. They desire depth, philosophy, learning. They desire spirituality. They desire connection. They know there's more to life than the physicalness of just their body, and they seek that in yoga. They seek the quiet. They seek the meditation. They seek the reflection. So I'm definitely much more of a psychographic person. But yeah, think through that. What do the people in your gap desire, want, need? And what challenges are they experiencing that yoga could help overcome? And then this is a super important question. Barriers to overcome. What has stood between them and doing yoga? This gap that we're shining a light in, why aren't they already doing yoga? Is it because they don't feel comfortable going to the local yoga classes? Do you live in an area that's full of just really swanky, lovely studios that, yeah, if you've been going to yoga for a while, they feel really nice with their aromatherapy and this, that, and the other, but they could feel intimidating. My community yoga classes are dusty floors and Tesco see-through leggings. Okay? They're not intimidating, but that might not be right for some people as well. So what are the barriers? Maybe it's just a mobility issue that they can't get if all the venues are upstairs, or it could be a price issue, or it could be a time issue, or it could be the representation of yoga in the media or on social media. So, you know, we only need to go and Instagram search yoga, and you're going to find a specific aesthetic that is slim, bendy, always wearing that many clothes. And that visual of what yoga looks like, that could be the barrier to someone. They go, I don't look like that. I'm older than that. I'm bigger than that. I'm smaller than that. I'm not that flexible. I'm this, that, or the other, because they're not seeing themselves represented in how yoga is displayed. Yeah, Lisa, I hear yoga is too hippie for me a lot. Yes, and you know, I have a student who she's actually just gone through teacher training with me. I've taught her for forever. But she remembers at the beginning, she's an occupational therapist, a friend of hers that was a physio saying, "Oh, come to this class. It's not that hippie, and she really knows her anatomy." Okay, so that felt safe for her. In the 14 years since then, her and me have gone on a thoroughly hippie journey. But still, it was that idea that it wasn't too hippie. And if you're not too hippie, don't force yourself to be hippie. Okay. In a bit more detail, identifying your target students, your real people. Again, this is the stuff you just went over: who, gender, age, general mobility, fitness level, barriers of yoga. Then knowing their real needs. What's their motivation for coming to yoga? How will their day-to-day life be improved? What's their expectations of yoga you're offering? What are their goals? And, you know, what is their motivation for leaving the house and going to yoga? It makes me giggle when yoga teachers think that other yoga teachers are their competition. I think, you know, there's so many yoga classes in my area. You're not competing with yoga teachers. You're competing with Netflix and a glass of red wine. Okay? If you run an evening class, that's your competition. How do we get people out of their house, away from doom scrolling and Netflix? Okay? And you've got to tap into motivation. What's enough to get me to leave the house? Then you start to piece this together in logistics. So what's the duration of your course to deliver the real results? If it needs to be 16 weeks, make it 16 weeks. I have many courses that are a year long. Okay? What is the cost of the course? And again, be fair. We don't need cheap pricing. We need fair. Fair for you and fair for your students for the value that it's offering. Fair pricing. And it's okay for some things to be expensive and some things to be cheaper. My offerings really range. My cheapest is probably my Yoga Warriors, which is £35 for a month, and it's 4 sessions of yoga a week. So that's the cheapest you can do yoga with me. Up to, you know, a year-long course, 1 session a month, it's like £400. Or even, you know, some of our retreats, my safari retreat last year was £3,500. So there's a huge range, and that's what feels good for me. The range, that someone has access to it at a cheaper level, you know, and there are more expensive offerings as well. Not everything has to be cheap. Venue, day and time, how many students are you going to take? And, you know, cost of the course, how many students is going to help you work that out. Learning objectives, real results. What are the learning objectives of the course? What are they going to learn from doing it? So often when people market their offerings, they say, what's it going to include? It's going to include, oh, someone's about to ring my doorbell. I'm really sorry. I think I need to talk to that human. He's going to stick a sale sign in my driveway. 2 ticks. I'm so sorry. You wanted to know where to put the sailboard, like wherever's most obvious. Okay. Yes. So rather than saying, it includes a yoga nidra, it includes restorative yoga poses. Say what you'll learn. You'll learn deep rest. You'll learn how to relax. You'll learn how to unwind. Okay? People want to know what they're going to learn, what the outcome is, what the result is. How will students continue their yoga journey on completion of the course? Especially if you're doing something like a beginner's course or a chair course or any course really, what do you want them to do afterwards? So if it's a beginner's course, I know I'm going to run a beginner's part 2. So I'll start dropping the seeds of that during the first course. So say we'll be teaching alternate nostril breathing. I'll say in part 2, we'll be looking at how to tailor this more for the specific energy you desire. So I'll just be dropping that there's going to be a part 2. So thinking through, if you've done a course on, yoga for an anxious mind, what's the next course going to be? What do you want them to do afterwards? It might be yoga for resilience, like the next step on. And then you just sum this up into a little, this is what I'm going to do. This is the plan. Where am I going to hold it? Day, date, time. How many students? What's included? What are the costs to you? What is the price? What is the profit? And then most important, are you excited? If you are not excited to put on the thing, don't put on the thing. Don't come from, yeah, but I need to for the money. It's not going to work. Okay? We lead from passion. Okay? Put on if you're excited. Then you write up your offer. First of all, you have to give your class or your course a name. Golden rule on names. Clear. This is a Brené Brown quote. Clear is kind, unclear is unkind. Yoga teachers like to be really clever with their names on things, and they love a little bit of alliteration. But if no one understands, they're not going to book it. And I sometimes fall into this trap. I was doing a workshop at the end of last year. It was on the 30th of December, and I called it was online, Celestial Recharge, because I thought that sounded beautiful. I broke my own golden rule and no one booked it. So then I realized I'd broken my own golden rule and renamed it New Moon Yoga and Astrology for 2025. And I think 40-something people booked it. And that's what it was. It was a 2-hour New Moon Yoga workshop with astrology for 2025. But when I first thought that, I was like, oh, that name's really boring and too long. Oh, Celestial Recharge. Please no. Just be clear. Then if you can be clear and clever, crack on, go for it. If you can be clear and use alliteration, go for it. But clear has to come first. Then the ideal student hook. So what this is one statement or question that someone reads after the title or in the subject of an email or at the top of a post that tells them you are talking to me. So I ran an online course called Transformative Rest. You know what that was from that. It was a whole course about rest. And the hook on it, when I sent it out on marketing email, all it said was, are you tired? And it was my most opened email of all time. Are you tired? I didn't write anything fancy. And this is the problem where I don't love ChatGPT, because ChatGPT wouldn't have come up with something so simple. It's too flowery. Okay? It uses 15 words when you can use 3. Okay? So that was course, Transformative Rest. Ideal student hook, are you tired? Course content, as in the key needs it addresses. an incentive to book. Book today. 50% off if you book now. First class free. Okay. And a call to action. Click here to book. Okay. Incentive to book and a call to action. Click here to book. Okay. So lovelies, that is our learning for today. I know it was a lot, there was a lot of learning in that. So please go through your homework, otherwise action won't follow. Go through your homework. So the homework is to get the workbook, write in the sections, then take a snippet, a screenshot of a section, and put it in the Facebook group. Then you can win live coaching call with me. It's going to be on the 20th of January at 2 p.m. Second prize, a website audit or social media review with me on the Wednesday. Third prize, you can choose your own CPD from Forever Learning course vault of mine. Shiva, you mentioned you wanted to do a yin yoga. I've got a full yin yoga teacher training in my course vault. So you could win that if you get your homework done. Fourth prize, 1 month's membership of the Yoga Warriors. And you've got to get those in by 12 p.m. Sunday. And just to keep reminding you that I am here to hold your hand for 12 weeks. We'll talk about it more tomorrow, but annually I teach Fast Track to Full, which is a 12-week business mentorship program, high touch for 12 weeks. Many of you have done it, but I only offer it once a year. Okay? So even if you think it's not good timing, you can just get it, keep the replays and come back to it later because it will not happen again until 2026. I know tomorrow is, I should say day 3. I know tomorrow is Saturday, but we will still be here. Same time, same place. All right, lovelies, get on with your homework. Pop it in the group. Those of you that are on the inner circle, we had a great time yesterday. We will go and dive into your questions in like 10 minutes time. If you're not in the Q&A and you want to be, just send me a message and I'll get you the link out for that. Otherwise, I will see you there very, very soon. Thanks for today, my loves.
Can I ask a quick question about homework?